Welcome back to the Energy Innovation Days 2021. And I have a few things to say about our next inspirational speaker. He single-handedly changed the neighborhood my parents live in. And I'm going to explain that in a second. My parents live close by to the Merck headquarters. And at some point, this entire region changed its look and feel, including the traffic flow, because of our next speaker. He was at the time head of corporate branding at Merck, and he changed all the logos, the entire look and feel of this company. And now he is the senior vice president of global brand and marketing at E.ON, and he's going to talk about it's the customer experience, stupid. Why innovation needs to start with the consumer. Welcome on stage, Axel Loeber.
Thanks very much. So, if you like to play the corporate buzzword bingo game, you most likely won't make a mistake by using the term customer centricity. Almost every company on earth, at least to my knowledge, believes that it puts customer centricity at the heart of everything it does. Literally every company on earth will say and tell you that you, the customer, are front and center of everything the company is thinking and doing about. But of course, there's a little problem. The problem emerges if you actually ask the customer. For most people, if you ask them, how do you perceive the customer experience from the company, from the brand, it feels rather like this kind of an experience. Yeah, not so great. And here's a direct link to innovation, because we know tens of thousands of innovations are hitting the market every year, and most of them fail. That's not necessarily a problem with the innovation itself, not because there might be a problem with the engineering or the programming. There's very often a problem with the customer experience, because innovation is very often mismatched. They simply don't match a want or need of a consumer. And that can lead to frustration and even, in a worst-case scenario, to a loss of trust into the brand that made the promise in the first place. Feels familiar? I thought a lot about this. What is the reason behind that effect? And my interpretation of it is, it might have to do something with us, people working in companies, creating innovations and bringing innovations to the market. There's very often some sort of a disconnect between us in our private lives and us in our corporate life. In our private lives, we are normal customers, normal consumers. We make buying decisions every year, every month, every day. We go to the supermarket and do shopping. We kind of know what a good experience, a good customer experience should feel like if we, for example, take the train, like I did last week to Munich. It was, by the way, a good customer experience. So we have a good indication for that. And then, all of a sudden, when we enter the office building, when we enter the next Zoom meeting, we turn into some sort of corporate zombie wearing a suit and a tie, like I do today, and thinking in different terms. And we kind of lose that feeling for what's right and what's wrong. And I believe this has something to do with the corporate fog machine. Companies, corporates are constructed in a certain way to make them work, to make them function. But that involves processes, structures, systems, regulation, power games from time to time, you name it. And that is a really different world to the reality of normal consumers outside the corporate fog machine. The question now is, how do you bridge that? How do you make the connection between that corporate fog machine and the real life? And I believe there's one simple factor, simple but important one, which can make the difference, which can be the bridge between the two worlds, which is empathy. Empathy, the ability to listen, to learn, to understand what is the want and need of a consumer, what is the driver behind a buying decision or a not buying decision. And it's about applying empathy to our corporate world, institutionalize it, apply it to everything we do in a corporation. I think that is fundamental. If we don't do it, if we don't have this kind of an empathy, we have another corporate buzzword for that. It's called inside-out thinking. We all know this buzzword, but in the end, it's the lack of empathy. And inside-out thinking can itself lead to corporate uniformity. That is an interesting thing. I work at E.ON, which is an energy company, which is kind of similarly constructed and organized like a big car company or an insurance company or a bank or a pharma company. It's a corporation. And this kind of corporate uniformity can also lead to uniform thinking. And this in itself can pose a problem because you just replicate patterns you have in your mind. And there's a wonderful example I took from the internet. These are a couple of movies which corporates put out, some pieces of advertisement corporates put out in the beginning of the COVID crisis in the attempt to ensure their consumers, ensure their customers that they will stay in business even in such difficult times. So let's have a look.
Are here.
We are here.
We're here.
We're here.
Here for you.
Here for you.
We're here for you.
We're here for you.
We are here for you.
We're here for you.
We are here for you. We'll be here for you.
Runnings is here for you.
We're still here for you.
We're with you. We're part of your community.
So you can trust us.
You can count on us.
And we'll get through this. Together.
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 Together. Together.
Together.
Together.
Together.
Together. Together.
Together. Together. And together.
Together.
Together. So great examples for corporate uniformity and uniform thinking. So let's take a step back and start with the real life. And of course, there is something your brand has to offer, something that your company brings to the market, and you kind of have to match that with what people believe and want. And there's a little overlaying space here between what you offer and what people want. And this is the space of relevance. This is the space you need to hit. And the tool to get there is empathy. To listen and learn and understand what customers want, match it with what you have to offer, and then create this relevance over here. And that needs a lot of clarity. It's not always an easy way to get there, but it is a super important step. But it's only the first step. You then need to bring it to life consistently. So imagine you have brought an innovation to market. It addresses a customer need. So you have hit the area of relevance, and now you have to deliver. You have to deliver constantly in each and every touch point you have with your consumer. Not just in one app, not just in one web application, not just in one technical feature, but everything across the entire value chain, across the entire customer journey. You have to bring this promise your brand is making to life. You know it from, for example, taking my example from last week, being on a train, entering the train station, embarking on a train, having Wi-Fi on the train, and so on and so forth. These are all little touch points you have across your journey, and every touch point needs to sit right. But be careful, some touch points are a bit more important than others, so you have to be really clear with insights in your bag. What are the really game-changing touch points you have to deliver on? But be careful, don't be lazy. Missing out some touch points, even if they might sound or look secondary, might be a problem. So bringing your brand to life with consistent customer experience is absolutely important. So I have now bombarded you with a lot of theory and a lot of theoretic speech. Let's make it very practical. Imagine you work in an insurance company, you're an employee of an insurance company, and you have done an internal research recently and got feedback from your colleagues. And the feedback is from your colleagues, well, we are feeling stressed. Maybe if you get this feedback, maybe I need a mindfulness app to counterbalance my stress level. So now the innovation process kicks in and you think, great, I have an insight. It's about a mindfulness app. Let's create a mindfulness app. We have a great digital department that can program it. And we also have a great feature on it, some push notifications. Every 15 minutes, you get a great push notification from the app. And we could also, because we want to do some internal engagement, add on an email campaign. Yeah. Actually, no, because that is increasing the stress level of your people, which is exactly the opposite of what you wanted to do. So, going back to square one, again, we are in the insurance company. You get the feedback, well, people feel stressed, and we kind of need a mindfulness app. Then empathy kicks in. You really need to find out, and you can do that also with a lot of research, you really need to find out what the underlying problem is. So the obvious problem might not be the underlying and the real problem. So it might not be the case in this example here that a mindfulness app is a problem solver, but that the root cause of your challenge is that your reimbursement app for your travel expenses is quite a complicated one. So if that is the root cause, you have to work on this one. You actually have to deliver it then with a lean customer experience, only doing some explanation stuff in the context, because think about it, people in corporations are usually bombarded with thousands of messages every day. The board wants something, the IT department wants something, brand and marketing has a new campaign, and so on and so forth. So really limited. And yeah, you then might get a high five and get the perfect 10, speaking in Net Promoter Score terms, because you have identified with empathy the underlying problem of the entire thing. So, in a nutshell, innovation is great. We all love innovations, new stuff, new tech. But it is important that it is delivered not only as a piece of technology, not as a piece of software, but delivered with a great customer experience behind. A customer experience that goes across the entire chain of touch points you have. And the means, the tool to get to that customer experience is empathy. Organizational empathy, applied empathy. So that's the basic pitch of my entire presentation today. With a lot of words, I wanted to say, innovation is great, bring it to market with a great customer experience, but all based on applied organizational empathy.
Thank you so much, Axel Loeber, for explaining, clarifying to us the role of branding in this innovation game that we're trying to get to. And I want to invite you all to actually join us now in a branded space. The Republic of Innovators is a space where we have our partners in the Partner Valley, where you can meet the companies that E.ON works with. Salesforce, Microsoft is there, SAP is there. You can meet some of their people, exchange ideas, network your way through whatever is interesting to you and relevant. Discuss the topics of the day. Go to the innovators space as well and meet some of the people who are watching with you. We really value your feedback, and we want to invite you to join the conversation that is happening there. And then I'll see you back here at 1:05. See you on the other side.